Hey everybody, it's me. It's Anton from ComicCon.com. And I am here with Ethan Parker and Griffin Sheridan and Robert Quinn, who I will be calling Bob. And they are the creative team behind Kill Your Darlings from Image Comics. This book is delightful. It is heartfelt, artistically drawn. The narrative is wonderful. The conversation super pithy. It feels real. It's not bad at all. It's a great book. You guys are gonna love it, and I got to read it. So let's talk to the gang. Hi, everybody.
Hey,
How you doing? Pleasure to be here.
Thanks for reading our book.
Hey, man, thanks for letting me read your book. I really appreciate you guys taking the time. I know everybody's like super duper busy.
Okay.
Yeah, so we're just gonna jump into it because we don't have a whole heck of a lot of time, but we probably maybe will circle back and talk again soon.
Sweet.
This book has some heavy themes. I mean, it's great. With a title like "Kill Your Darlings," it's just wonderful. I have my own opinions on it, but why don't you give our wonderful viewers a sort of an elevator pitch of what they're to expect with this title?
Sure.
Yeah.
Griffin,
Am I doing this, Ethan?
Yeah, go ahead.
Sure. Thanks, brother. Sorry, I don't know. I'm like warming. It's on the weekend, so I'm like trying to warm up back into interview mode.
It's all good.
Kill Your Darlings is a book that has been in the making for years now. It is the debut book from Ethan and myself, and we're teamed up with the incredible Bob Quinn and John J. Hill on letters and design. We're so grateful to have them working with us on this really a passion project. It's a horror fantasy that centers around our main character, Rose. When we find her in issue 1, she likes to play pretend in a world of her own creation. It's kind of a Narnia type vibe in terms of what flavor of fantasy we're playing around with. She's got maps, she's got world building, character designs. She's an extremely creative child, but there's something sort of sinister lurking at the center of Rose's life, at the center of Rose's imaginary world. And here in issue 1, we're going to see the reckoning of what happens when that evil at the center of it sort of rears its head. And Rose is going to be pulled into a grotesque and gruesome and terrifying saga that began far before she was even born. And that's what the book's about.
Isn't that like fun?
and there's a split right down the middle. It's a horror fantasy, and the whole book is split right down the middle in terms of the fantasy stuff we try to make as fun and adventurous as possible, and then we like to sort of turn on a dime and do the most upsetting thing you've ever seen. And those two flavors.
We're gonna have some fun, but you're gonna earn it. The playground is on the other side of a field of broken glass. You gotta cross through.
Yeah, and we've taken your shoes, stupid. Sorry.
When Narnia meets Ari Aster's horror film Hereditary is how we have been pitching it. That sound about right, Anton? Yeah, that's that seems like the closest match to like the fantasy fun we're trying to have with it, and the closest match in terms of what's come before as far as the type of horror we like to deal with in the book.
What really stood out to me in this book is, in a lot of ways, you could draw parallels to other properties that are out there. And I think that immediately becomes a pitch in like a comic shop, or like if you're talking to your friends on Zoom, or like text, group text or whatever. Yeah. It's like, oh, it's like this and this.
Yeah.
This book feels so wholly unique as well. And I think that's one of the really endearing pieces of it, is that there's a lot out there that is very similar. It's like we reskinned something that sort of exists.
Yeah.
But this is it seems to take a really nice nod of like a really cool D&D game that you played as a little kid. And like all your make 'em ups and with your action figures and your toys and stuff. And it filters that in a way that is chilling and at the same time like oddly heartwarming. It plays on so many emotions. It's a ton of fun. There is a magical sword, Francine, that is in the book, I believe it's called out. And as I finished reading this book, it parallels. There's sort of the world of the imagination, and then there's the world of the real. And my first thought was like, how am I not going to cobble together the bag and boards of all the issues and make that like a big cardboard sword, right?
If you do that, you better send us a photo.
Of course.
I need to see it.
Now, where were sort of the seeds of this? Because I feel like you said, this has been kind of in the works for such a long time. Like, where was there a seeding moment? Was it just, hey, we were kids? Like, where did this come from?
No, there definitely was. We've been kind of working in and around the industry for several years now, and a few years ago, through our various opportunities of working with people like Ryan Stegman, Donnie Cates, Brian Michael Bendis, Matt Rosenberg, like it became possible to us that we were like, okay, we can use the know-how we've gathered and everything to kind of step into the comics industry to try to tell a story that we want to tell, and it became a matter of like, okay, what are we trying to do, and there were some false starts here and there of trying to get an ash can together and stuff. But what ended up happening was we were just waiting for the right idea, and the germ ended up popping up for us during the height of pandemic, when we were both frontline workers. And so it was like this really, really dour time, obviously, for us and for everybody. And it was a lot of these early visuals of the crayon drawings and just like the really otherworldly kind of terror being amidst the childhood fun. Those were just those initial things that started popping into our heads, and we were getting really excited about just those simple, just the scenes, just like the visuals, the ideas, and then going like, okay, well, what is this story? Why is this in our heads? And a lot of it being, well, we're in a really bad mental space, obviously, and so it makes sense that we're kind of reckoning with some of our issues, some of the stuff that's stuck around with us for a long time. But I do think we are also a couple of golden-hearted boys, and I think that we have long tried to hold on to kind of our inner kids a little bit, and certainly I think you have to when you're trying to make art to some degree, is like you got to be able to tap into that part of yourself that wants to create, and so sort of as we learn to write really and learn to write together, it quickly was like the book ended up having a lot in it that is like about us making a thing for the first time, and so all of these sort of these elements just sort of spun together into like, we love silliness. We love things that are like unabashedly silly and fun, but we also love things that are scary because we don't understand them. And those things are so universal. They're things that are part of everyone's lives. And so they're such natural elements for a story. And yeah, we just learned to write together and created these characters that are one way or another representative of a part of us or what we want to express. And yeah, it was a very natural process, honestly, but it's been a long one. Like I think we said 3 years now.
Well, yeah. I mean, you hit on so many things there that I think are really sort of seated within the book. And I've again, thank you so much for sharing it with me. I've had a chance to read it a couple of times. It really is such a great piece. And what you talked about the artistry of it and sort of showcasing things that are silly and fun, and yet like sort of harmonizing it with this deeper undertone. You've got Bob here, whose artwork is able to kind of shift from this melancholy, almost sepia lit kitchen scenes of parents anguishing over things that parents who care about you might actually anguish over, to these like very bright, fanciful kind of room settings where the lighting almost picks on like an ethereal rainbow kind of pattern to it. It's like the lighting actually shifts from page to page. It's those little details that you bring to this, Bob, that really stand out. And it, like, if you take back a step back and kind of look at the work as the art form that comics are, like, you can really see those things show through. You've put so much work into this. How did you come to the project? Where'd you jump on board?
Oh, these guys just emailed me, and I was like, "Yeah, I'll draw your book. That sounds good." and then I did it. Yeah. I mean, like, it's sort of reductive, but I mean, they will tell you that there was a long, arduous search for the right person, and then I came in with the right amount of passion for it, because frankly, I did. Like, they were like, "Hey, it's this kid, and she's got a fantasy world, and she's got a big sword, and it's kind of spooky," and I was like, "Yeah, this all sounds like stuff that I like to do. I like You know, I've done a bunch of sort of sword and sandal, you know, fantasy stuff. Love it. I play a lot of Dungeons and Dragons. I'm a huge nerd. Awesome. I was a kid once, so I was able to identify with that. And then, you know, I don't know. It just everything in the 1-page pitch they sent to me. I was like, I resonated with all of it, and it was just kind of like, well, that makes sense. Yeah, this seems like the thing that I want to do next. And it was one of those situations where I was like, if somebody else draws this, I feel like I'm gonna be angry because I'll read it and be like, no, that's not how you should have done it.
I think we are like the most fortunate debut writers to be able to work with Bob, because like him getting to control his whole artistic process, getting to color himself and everything. He's the master of mood, getting to color himself. Like, yeah, absolutely incredible.
That was a big part of it too, is because, you know, I hadn't been able to color my own work since I worked at Dynamite, you know, and, you know, I would ask Marvel all the time. I was like, hey, would you let me color this one? They were like, no. And I'm like, all right, fine. And then these guys came along and I was like, hey, would you guys be okay if I color? And they're like, yeah, sure. You know, it's going to save us having to find somebody else to do it, which is like a huge pain in the butt too. So, and then I came in and I was like, oh, finally. So it was like, I finally, you know, it was one of those things where like your gut says, just do this thing. Just do it. You're going to be happy. No matter what happens, you're going to be proud of the thing that you've made. I just knew it. I knew it at the very core of my soul. And you know what? It's true. And I got to flex a lot of muscles that I don't normally get to. And I get to basically take the reader and just drag them anywhere I want to go. Hey, feel this stupid whap, whap. and then you get the book that we made.
Yeah, the tonal difference that we were talking about earlier, so much of that working, and you know, Ethan and I, while we were writing it, were like, oh man, does this work? It is so hard to tell when it's just words on a page. But Bob totally sells every single tonal shift with everything you're saying, Anton. His mood, his light, his color, all of that stuff is doing so much of the legwork, I think, on making sure that those tonal shifts, and when we jump between genres, that those work really well. And yeah, I'm extremely grateful to him that they do.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's like writing an Oscar speech for Brad Pitt. Like, you got some room to fuck up. He'll sell it, you know.
Yeah.
But I mean, like but to obviously Ethan and Griffin's credit, like there is a huge amount of emotional whiplash, like throughout, just from scene to scene, and like it gives me a lot of opportunities to sort of go into the toolbox and pull out stuff that I think is going to be, you know, that is essentially heightening what's already written in the script, which has been, you know. They've given me a lot of really great stuff to work with, is all I'm saying. And you're going to love it when you read it. Because you're gonna. Yeah.
I think you will, dear listener, viewer, reader, however you are choosing to consume this piece of media, because it'll probably be available in a lot of different ways. I think, you know, on the note of how the three of you, well, four, because the lettering is also choice on this book.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
How this book has come together is... I think there are things in it that you can only do in comics. You know, I think there's a lot of ways where pacing, lighting, mood, tone, they can get lost. You know, people are like, oh, they put a comic together, and sometimes it very much feels like they're just writing a deck, you know, a pitch deck for like a TV show or something.
Yeah.
This does not feel like that. It feels like a comic. It feels like one of those comics that's going to stand out, like a pillar that kind of exists. And I think there's a line in it that I really love. Rose delivers it, and she said, "Your world does not make sense." And when one of her friends asks her, like, if why don't we play in my world? I think it's Wallace.
Right.
Why don't we play in my world? And she says, "Your world does not make sense." And she says it without rancor, and she says it without like anger. It's just almost a matter of fact, the way that it's delivered. And that's one of the coolest things about the dialogue and storytelling and the way it meshes with the art, is like, it feels like you're part of a conversation, like you're the passive observer in as these pages turn. And what I love about that moment, and I think it is everything that people are going to love about this book, and I feel like people are really going to love this book, is that to me feels like the capstone, right? That's your magic moment in the first story that kind of gets you hooked into what you're about to experience, because the world shouldn't make sense, but the way that you all came together and are able to tell this story in comic form I think it just heightens the medium. I mean, this is a great piece of work. Like, for this to be an inaugural run, you guys knocked it out of the park.
Thank you so much.
Really
I really appreciate
incredibly
it.
Flattering. Thank you.
If it was garbage, trust me, I'd be the first to be like, "Oh yeah, that was a great book, guys. Tell me, why don't you wear hats?" Like, we'd having very different conversations.
Would have outed you immediately.
Oh my God.
But it's it's a lot of fun. I want to know more about the beat 'em up beasts. I think it's the
beat 'em beasts.
Beat 'em
Yeah.
beasts.
Dude, if you know how long it took us to get to beat 'em beasts, dude. For the folks watching, there's a made up card game. We had so many names for it. We finally got to beat 'em beasts, and then Ethan and I debated for an entire evening about how to stylize beat 'em beasts. Fuck, whatever.
There's a landfill somewhere just full of just trash trade card names. Trading card names, yeah.
As a person who back when I was in art school, we used to just for fun make fake products. And come up with what's the marketing going to look like? What's the what is it going to look like on a shelf? What's the and I ended up doing that for a job for a decade. I actually made like package design.
That's awesome.
So like with Beat 'em Beast, immediately when it came up in the story, I was like, what do they look like?
That's awesome.
Like,
maybe you'll see. Maybe you'll
might
get
to find out.
Yeah.
Wait, I know it's one of many things in this book that I am for sure looking forward to.
Awesome.
Do we know how long the run's going to be? Is it?
We're at the point where we're not saying just yet exactly how long it's going to be, but it is a finite run, and we're nearly done with it as well. So it's people don't have to worry about it falling off the track. It's coming. It's all coming. It's going to be a perfect amount.
We've been so grateful to have so much, as sometimes frustrating as it has been to have so much time to work on it. There have been so many points where we've gone like creatively stir crazy on it. Ethan and I, especially have just been like, oh my fucking God, we got to just get it out in the world. But we've had a lot of time to work on it, and it is better for that. And Bob has just been ripping through it for the past 7 months now. And so we have a number of issues completely in the can. I know sometimes things, especially these days, can be caught up in industry stuff, paper shortages, shipping problems, all that stuff. Barring those sorts of things that are out of our control, this will be a book that you can consistently count on being in your pull box every single month for however long it may be. Some amount of time. Bob, unrelated note, great cover for issue 6. Yeah, it was
At least 6.
At least 6. We're also like getting to end it exactly how we want to, and I think that's something that also doesn't get to happen a lot of times in comics. We're doing it exactly on our terms, so I think people should be really satisfied with it.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
It's exactly as many issues as it needs to be.
Hell yeah.
I agree.
Hell yeah. Perfect amount.
I love that. There's already so many story threads of like what's going on with Wallace's mom. Like there's so much that's happening in this book that I really can't wait to explore. I feel like it's, not being hyperbolic, I feel like it's going to sell out. I'm hoping we get to see like a current run of issue 1. I'm super excited about it. It's great. Any of you guys doing any shows coming up soon? New York Comic Con, anything like that?
It looks like Griffin and I will be at New York Comic Con with our own booth.
Awesome.
Yeah. So
catch us at Artist Alley.
That's exciting. I look forward to seeing you there. I'll be on the floor as one of Comic Con's press that's there. So
great, man.
Looking forward to it, man.
We will talk more soon on that front. I am. If you could give our dear listeners, viewers, readers any sort of inclination, if I have not convinced them enough, and I should have, because this book is awesome, that they need to pick up this book. Is there anything you would like them to know before we sort of wrap?
I could say this book is representative of 4 creators just going as hard as we possibly can to make you feel fun, to make you feel scared, to make you feel loved, to make you feel grossed out, to just make you feel all these things. Like we're just trying to push all these buttons, and I think that it's such a meal because of that. I think it's such a unique product because it is so many things. Like we've really had to figure out exactly how to quickly explain what this book is because it's a bit obscure. It's a bit amorphous, and it has grown and changed so much, and so it's come to mean so much to us. So I think it's a really human story told really fantastically, not in terms of quality, but in terms of scale and genre, style. And so I think you're not going to see another book like this on the stands. It's a weird one, it's a cool one, and it's everything. It's all of us put into the book, and so I think you'll love it. You should pick it up.
If at any point you've picked up a book of mine and said, I like what Bob is doing in this comic book space, pick this one up. It's the best work I've ever done. I've never been more proud of anything I've put on the shelves in my entire life.
Absolutely. Yeah, as Bob was turning in pages for issue 1, he said that to us. He's like, "This is the best stuff I've ever done," and we were like, "We agree." And then as each issue has gone on, it's like, "Oh my god, he keeps one-upping himself. It's crazy what he does in this book." I think the very last note we could end on is there was a moment when we got the book approved at Image. Our good friend and mentor, Donnie Cates, said, "Hey, Image is a big stage, the biggest stage that something like this can go out on, and it's somewhat easy to get up on that stage, and it's even easier to not be invited back. So you have to show up." And that definitely scared us a little bit, but but we have such confidence in the book, and I think that the team is so strong that we had no choice but to absolutely show up, and I hope you guys feel the same. Please go out, pick it up. FOC final order cutoff August 13th for issue number 1
coming up.
It would mean the world to us if you went and added it to your pull list. It'll be in shops September 6th. We cannot wait for you guys to read it.
Absolutely.
You won't be disappointed. I can promise you guys.
Thank you so much, man.
Thank you.
Thank you all for taking the time to join me. I really appreciate the day.
Of course.
I have been Anton. I will probably continue to be. I will talk to you all very soon. Thanks again, guys.
Bye.
Thanks. Bye.